Welcome to the Building and Growing podcast. We're delighted to have Ken Thomas with us today. Welcome, Ken.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
You're most welcome. Look, it's lovely to be here on a summer's day that's not raining because it's been pouring down with rain.
Man. Yeah, that's why I had to escape for a bit, but I think I brought the sunshine back with me, so it's
That's
nice.
it. Yeah, mate, you should go to Ibiza more often and bring some good weather to London.
Yeah, dude, I'm still recovering, but I think we'll survive. But you're going to Istanbul pretty soon, so it's gonna be exciting. You might take the sunshine with you, hopefully not.
That's it. Yeah. On my way back, and I think I've missed the 45-degree heat wave, so it's looking like early 30s, which is bearable.
But you got AC out there though, so it's still
that's
nice.
it. Yeah. So good. But look, I saw one place. I think Saudi Arabia was 57 degrees over the weekend.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's it.
It's too hot, man.
Exactly. Apparently, it's the limit that humans can survive at.
It's like the wet bulb
degrees.
effect, I think it is.
Is it? Okay.
Because then it's like your body gets so hot where it just starts shutting down, and the sweat you can't really sweat.
Wow.
So it's like a dry bulb effect, something bulb effect.
Far out.
It's like two cities that have become unlivable because of the level of heat. And that's where I'm also not a doc. I'm not a scientist, so I'm just going off memory.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nah, but I think message is clear. If it's above 50 something degrees, time to move cities.
You gotta get out.
That's it. Ken, do you want to give us a bit of an intro about you and tell us about yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Ken from New York City. I started out in traditional banking, consumer retail, interesting time. I kind of went into that because I wanted to help people. Let's democratize financial literacy and financial services, the words that we use in the startup tech space.
That's it.
Quickly realized that wasn't the MO. So I was like, fair enough. So deferred my master's for 2 years working in that, worked for HSBC and another bank. COVID hit. My school was like, listen, if you don't come now, you're gonna lose your scholarship. I was like, fair enough. But I was like, it was cool. But I was like, I was in that inflection point like a lot of people. I think I was like, I'm not in a place where I want to be. Not on the path to be where I want to be. I wanted to have more impact on the business and with clients and things of that nature. So I was like, let's go. Let's get out. And at the time, fintech was popping up. At the time, Better.com was a pretty big deal. My friend actually worked for Better.com. I interviewed with them as well.
Nice.
Didn't get the job, obviously, I guess. But
that's all right.
But so I came here September 2020.
Yeah.
Height of the pandemic, did 2 masters concurrently, worked at 2 fintechs. One is a pre-Series A bootstrap, probably one of the more important roles in my career because that's how I got to where I am now.
Yes.
And then another fintech based out of Sweden. I mean, complete different side of it. Series A was 75 mil. Series B, 10 months later, is 208 mil. So I was there for both of that. Yeah. So and then affected like many people, affected by the layoff season, and so it was crazy. January I started my own company here in the UK because apparently with the graduate track visa, which I did my master's here, you can register a company in the UK, but when I'm moving to the skilled worker visa, I'm not sure what happens to that company. You can't do that. So, and then SaaStock, they asked me to help them build out a VC arm for them. So I was like, let's do it. It's been a crazy experience. Learning a lot of things, but utilizing most of the stuff I've done is people focused businesses. So it's as long as you have some understanding of business. I mean, if you need to understand people, and that's first and foremost.
Indeed. And look, I mean, you mentioned that sales is something that you've worked on before, and it can lead to really strong relationships being formed and maintained over the years, as long as what you're selling is decent.
Yeah.
I think some salespeople are just this job is going to give me this commission, and that's it, and they miss out on that sort of the growth and opportunities that can come from a long-term vision.
Yeah, no, 100%, and I think that's why we had picked up a director of partnerships, and he saw how I worked, and he thought I was actually more suited 2 partnerships in sales,
Yes.
which I'll go right for the sales part of things. But, I realize I'm also an individual that I think money motivates me up to a certain point.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's like, okay, like what is the real fulfillment you're getting at? How's the relationships working with that? And that's partnerships,
Yeah, indeed.
Which also thankfully makes good money as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and those relationships that I made, deepen them, utilize them, just adding value both ways, and that's kind of where it's been.
Yeah, fantastic. So look, for the audience that may not have heard about SaaStock before, are you able to talk a little bit about its history and what it does?
Yeah, for sure. So the 8-year-old conference, I think it's it is the largest SaaS focused conference in Europe.
Yeah.
So it's that's why doing my job makes it a lot easier because people know who we are.
Yeah, indeed.
And yeah, I mean, it started out in London.
Mm-hmm.
The GP would probably be able to say it better, but basically he had started this podcast, talking about SaaS, writing about SaaS.
Yeah.
And then from there, he did this like little meetup in London, and then it got together and it just kind of just kept growing and growing and growing. And then it did a conference. And then funny enough, because now when people think of SaaStock, they think of Dublin. They think it's an Irish company. It's actually, a UK company based out of London.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And what had occurred, Web Summit had gotten to X size. And then they had that huge space that Web Summit was always at that was no longer filled. So they actually asked SaaStock to go out there, and then SaaStock filled it out. They got a lot of local support out there in Ireland, and that's what it's known for now. Like people think it's an Irish company now because they just rep it so hard.
Yeah, nice.
And yeah, I mean, there's also pitch competitions there. Like it's been great because companies like Personio, for instance, they won the pitch competition. They were like 4 people. It's like an $8.5 billion size company now, valued company now, and you'll see some really great people. We've had some really top tier SaaS people speaking at these things, and it's just, if you're into SaaS, it's a place to be.
Indeed. I can imagine it's a great place for people with ideas to go and validate them. Find new team members. I guess investors are able to find potential companies that they want to invest in, and of course, different service providers are there, offering their services. But you need some sponsors to to get the conference off the ground.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I mean, if you look at some of the sponsors we have, I mean, some of the big SVB is one of the individuals I used to sponsor as well. I mean, now it's HSBC here, but still a sponsor. Among a bunch of other great names who I won't run through. But last year, from the VC side, investor side, we had like 400 different firms that were present. Yeah. So it's, when you talk about that level of concentration for an event that was about 6,000 people.
Yes.
That's pretty large.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a great breeding ground for those SaaS tech focused individuals.
Indeed. And can you mention that now you're working on building out a VC? It sounds like a mammoth sort of task. Are you able to talk us through it a bit? Yeah.
So like there's certain things I can say now, but certain things I can't say until X point. But
sure.
It's been really cool. I mean, especially coming from banking. Then in fintech, it's kind of like understanding. Obviously, it's just the background, working in business background and economics. So like a lot of stuff, it just makes sense. But you got to figure out how you're gonna mitigate risk. What does that look like based on your strategy? And then how are you gonna look at your deals? How are you gonna assess deals? What does your pipeline look like for deals? And what are this relevant stages? And how are you gonna screen through those stages? And it's like I said, it's a commercial business. It's a sales. VC is sales.
Yeah.
So a lot of the same things you'll be doing on the sales side. We're in the pipeline is your sales deal now.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yeah, that's it.
You're qualifying just the same. You're qualifying in a different way, but you're still qualifying all the same.
Yeah.
But you need a network to make sure you're getting the best deals, the best leads.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's a lot of similarities, a lot of overlap of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. I think it is kind of like a funnel. You're you're either sourcing companies or, they're coming to you.
Yep.
And then you're going down through that due diligence process until you can get to the point of deciding, we're going to invest, or no, we're not.
Yeah, but the thing is on the sales side, you love an inbound lead, with on the VC side, it's like inbounds just aren't the same. You don't look at them in the same way, and you can't be really sure if it's the best deal, which I like, but you still try to give them a shot, I think I always, at the point I'm at now, I always try to give founders of any type just a shot. Like, let's have a conversation, because whether we invest or not doesn't matter, right?
Yeah,
but what does matter, I think, is just giving the opportunity. Like, maybe there's something I can help you with. Maybe I can make an introduction for you, and I think having been on the startup side and worked with so many founders, like, I kind of understand it's a grind and it's not fun. And especially working as a salesperson, all the cold calls, all the rejection, and like, of course there's grit into it that we got to work through. But I think, sometimes it's okay to just maybe give them one good meeting, make them feel good, give them something out of it, so it doesn't just feel like a complete waste. And I think that's kind of the most important thing.
Yeah, indeed. And look, I mean, what's it like trying to raise capital for a VC in this current market? And, for the audience, we're kind of in August 2023 at the moment. Things seem to have dried up a fair bit. But yeah, what's it looking like raising from investors?
Yeah, I think it's kind of an outlier scenario for us. Like, so I've been doing some of the more low touch outreach, where it's just like we have like some leads that we got based on individuals that might have been to SaaStock, and they said they want to keep their information for partners and everything. Well, that'd be people like myself. And I would probably reach out to them, had the conversation, but the GP, the founder, Alex, he was the one that was like really doing the high touch stuff, where like these are personal connections of his. And I think there's also individuals that we reached out to on a very new level, like, but that didn't really know this was going to happen. But the thing is, I think the brand is just so well known in Europe. There's no real question about it. I mean, of course there are always questions, but there's not like, oh, what is this? Where are you coming from? It's like, no, this is okay. I know exactly what this is. There's not much explanation to be done. But it's cool. I mean, from obviously Europe, the US, we have Brazil, Chile. In the mix. I was actually speaking to the fund of funds in Japan like a while ago.
Nice.
And it's I think it's just kind of an outlier, because just based on the brand, and just riding that wave.
That's it, yeah. And I guess it's benefiting from the brand equity that you've built up over the years. The fact that those foreign funds might consider it a really good way to enter new markets and deploy capital with a trusted partner.
Yeah, and especially certain markets that are a bit more conservative. I mean, they realize, we need to get out there. I mean, like you talking about Japan, that was one of them. They said, we want to have a bit more exposure to something that's has a bit more upside, or have bigger ideas. Not to say like any idea is not big, but you're talking about the return, that you want to have a certain size of return as an idea. And that's kind of what people want to go for. It's like swinging for the fences.
Yes.
And even in Europe, I mean, that's why European VCs probably going to US, or US VCs, not so much here. Just different sets. I think the American ideal is still pretty strong.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, some VCs in the US, really are, I suppose, happier to take on more risk relative to, European VCs, and so it'll be interesting to see where you guys land.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, GP, it's British himself, and me, an American, and just coming into this, European VC space. It's interesting because I think it's being an American also is probably like a secret weapon for me out here as well. People hear an American accent, they're just like kind of in tune with it. So it's different. Yeah,
fantastic. So look, what's on the roadmap for the next sort of 12 months, either from a SaaStock point of view or from a VC point of view?
Yeah, so we're nearing our first close, which is exciting. And from there, it's just we've put together a few relationships with other VCs, and that's kind of where most deal flow, I think, most what people really look at, or want to look at. So that's kind of just maintaining those, cultivating those. There's just a lot of it's treated just like partnerships. You have recurring meetings. Yeah. Just speaking to founders, events, really beating the pavement. And just learning, man. And that's what it's been like that since we started this in February. Yeah. Learning. Far out. Voraciously. Yes. But it's good. Yeah. And obviously we have SaaStock coming up in Dublin. Yep. Heading to Helsinki for Slush, which is going to be a huge one. I mean, I've heard nothing but great and amazing things about it.
Yeah, I've heard it's good. I've not been to that one. Just Web Summit, but
it's. I was in Helsinki for Arctic 15, and it was. I'm a huge advocate of the after parties because I think the most of business is done at the after party. It's good. It's good to shake hands and kiss the babies at the conference itself. You might watch a good talk here and there, but at the parties, that's where I've always done my best business. You meet some great people, make some great connections, and that's where people are at. Funny enough, they're probably have been drinking a lot, but that's where they're going to remember you from.
Indeed. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's maybe not to the same extreme, but there's that saying where, you can't do business with someone unless you can sit and have lunch with them. If you can't sit down and enjoy a meal where, sure, business isn't the main focus necessarily, you've just got to be comfortable with each other's company, then business relationship won't work.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, when we're looking at the life cycle of a VC fund, I mean, it's 10 years, 13 years if you have extensions. Yes. That's longer than most marriages in the U.S. So you better be in bed with the right person.
That's right.
So I think that's why there's such a long process in dealing with founders. Yeah. I mean, which is fair. We are investing other people's money, right? Yeah. You got to be mindful of that. But I think just being a straight shooter. I mean, most founders I know, like, they have spoken well of me. They've also referred me other founders, even if I just kept it straight with them. I'm like, hey, man, this is probably not going to work out for us, yada, yada, yada. But here's why. Maybe speak to this person. Here's a commercial lead, maybe. Yeah. And just keeping straight. There's no kicking the can down the road. Because just like sales, it might be no, but it's just no for now. Yes. You never know. You never know what could occur.
That's right. That's right.
So there's no pain in just giving someone the full truth and not kicking the can down the road.
100%. And look, I really like how you've sort of segued back to sales there, because I was going to ask you, what do you think the three sort of key success factors for a good salesperson or partnerships person are?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be likable. I mean, I love a good party, right? And I think, in truth, I do treat a lot of relationships like bank accounts. And I know that sounds terrible on the surface, but in the logic is you cannot earn interest or withdraw on an account that has nothing in it. Not to say, you're like, first of the month, time to withdraw. It's like, but my mindset is like, what is the best way I can make a valuable deposit into this person, not just like throwing something at a wall to something sticks. Just have a conversation, be real, listen with intent, and ask some good questions. Yeah, and then like you want people to understand, but also I'm a very good listener. Most times I'm talking to people, I'm doing the least amount of talking. Yes. Except here, I guess. And making sure you're adding value, not just throwing chum into the water. Yeah. I guess like one or two things there. I mean, visibility is also important. I've been building up, the whole, social media thing and just being active, trying to stay top of mind. That's also very important because you're not going to be there when a partner's going to get the best deal all the time. But what you should be is just top of mind. And, indeed. That's kind of two most important things, I'd say. Just add value and be visible. Yes. And that was also taught to me by my previous director, who was like, he's made a very good career for himself in partnerships. I mean, he's the partnerships guru.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, fantastic. And I agree, particularly with the make value or create value. There's I think this bloke called Zig Ziglar, and he always spoke about you've just got to give, and then the rest will come.
Yep.
And there's another book, I think it's called Givers and Takers, and it spoke about the people that gave were the ones that ultimately had the net benefit.
Yep.
At the end of the day. So it's it's important to listen and give value where possible.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not a zero-sum game. I mean, you think about how money flows in an economy, like just actual physical dollars in an economy. Like it goes around. It circulates. Business and money circulates.
That's right.
So, if you're able to give out good business, I'm not saying you have to give away money, but you give good business to people, make a good connection with people. Those are two people you just helped.
Yes.
And that's kind of where I started, like telling you the company Otterdog I started. It's really just a vehicle for the partnerships and relationships that I had before, because sometimes you come across something, you put it out there, and then sometimes you have a good commercial partnership just off that.
And
I think now it's an interesting market, especially for people looking to exit their companies, and just like that's just been an interesting thing as well. So it's just helping people where you can.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make out with something. It's nice.
Yeah, that's it. Indeed. And I mean, are you seeing people more and more wanting to exit at the moment?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think with the market, people are just ready to, cash some chips in. Some VCs, they might just be like, doing a lot more portfolio management this year. That's since Q4 last year, and then maybe it's time to exit this position. Let's liquidate this. Not necessarily like there's anything wrong with the company. It's just certain things are kind of plateauing out. Certain things might just be still ripping, and it's like, okay, well, we need to hit our hurdle, or we need to start giving money back to LPs, depending where the life cycle of the fund is. That's why if you're a company that's taken funds in the last few years of that fund life cycle, you might be getting a bit of pressure earlier than you might like. But
indeed. But given that there's maybe quite a few VCs that are looking to to sell, who's buying?
I have a business partner actually. They're just a company, but it's just in the marketplace, and they just have we do off market work. So they have listings and everything, but we just do things off market. And that's it. But yeah, it's just a company called Flippa.com. Like literally, they'll Australian company. I deal with their European team mostly, and then there's most of their business is done in the U.S. I was actually speaking with these guys during my last company, trying to work on a partnership, and then I got laid off, so I got put down. But really great guys, and we've just been really good, done a lot of good work together.
Excellent. Well, look, I mean, I think the whole sort of buying and selling companies is a super interesting part of the market that I actually don't have too much experience in. So I look forward to learning more about that from you. But in terms of the VC fund that SaaStock is building, are you able to share any more about where you see that going over the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, we're investing in about 30-40 companies, hopefully. I mean, like it's been really good. I mean, I can't say too much because of like the solicitation. But we're nearing that first close. Hopefully by the time this comes out, we'll be at first close. And it kind of goes back into my mindset going from traditional banking into fintech. So it was having that impact, right? And just really feeling like I was building something. And now, like having worked in two companies where I'm like was helping build, now I'm able to help build portfolio of companies, which is really good. So I mean,
awesome.
It's funny. I'll speak to some, and I think that's where I see it. Like it's just really just working with these companies and working that out, and then the second fund start coming up, but really getting on the ground. I mean, they don't work for the companies, so there's definitely a barrier to maintain. Sometimes I have founders that I'll ask, like how involved are you guys gonna get? I'm like, dude, I will be as involved as you would like me to be. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of unsolicited advice. I mean, I'm not gonna give you that. Like,
Yes.
I'm saying, would you want some advice on this? I'll ask you if you want advice. If you say no, then that's fair.
Yeah,
But,
that's it. That's it.
but it's one of those things, here to make the introductions, here to do what I can, and I think that's kind of where it is. There's I think every VC or investor wants to be like a value add investor, but I think a lot of founders might not agree with that sentiment.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we're just riding the wave for like 10 years. Hopefully, like it's the average life of the fund.
Yeah.
We'll start seeing some great returns for our investors. Funny enough, in emerging VCs typically, on average, historically, do better than established ones.
Okay.
So we're hoping to, keep on that trend. Hopefully exceed and do better than the average. Do better than the best. Who knows?
Mate, that's it. Well, that's the goal, and then you can walk away and decide what's next.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think I'll stay with this. I mean, I make 3 years in the UK in September, and
Nice.
we're in year one.
Yeah.
So I see us going to hopefully 10 years later be here.
Yeah.
Might be opening a new operation in another country for the next one. Who knows?
That's right.
That'll be great.
Yeah,
just continuing seeing the world and helping out founders everywhere.
Yeah. Fantastic. No, that'll be great. I mean, and who knows? Maybe within 10 years we'll see the sun in London.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. I mean, it's funny because the rest of the world is literally on fire.
Yeah.
And it's like 18 degrees.
That's right. Yeah. I think it was 12 this morning when I went out for a coffee. It was freezing.
It's insane.
So,
in the middle of August.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So that's it. Hey, but Ken, are there any key takeaways that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah. The biggest thing is every community is very small, I think.
Yeah.
Whether it's VC or founders, the biggest thing I've learned is treat everyone with respect, treat everyone kindly.
Yeah.
No is not a bad word.
Yes.
But what is bad is stringing people along, and that's what most founders do complain about a lot. I try not to jerk people around, and I'm just a straight shooter. I mean, that's probably the biggest compliment I get from most founders, that being straight up with them.
Indeed.
But I think that goes with anything. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, look, I think that's a real important one because, people appreciate honesty and not having their time wasted. You can make more money, but you can't get your time back, can you?
Yeah, I mean, because as a founder, you're by default time poor. Because you don't have the time to hire. You don't have the money to hire people to do the work, so you got to do the work yourself.
Yes.
And I think it is funny. I was reading something in one of these WhatsApp groups that there are a few VCs in, and there's this thing came up about this business that their service is going to be introducing founders to VCs, like warm intros, which is a bit strange if you think about it. I think even though I'm just kind of starting out with this, it's like, well, if it's an early stage founder, I mean, just kind of hesitant about, unless it's a referral versus if it's a paid referral, like someone's representing them, it's just kind of strange because it's like, well, this is very early stage. What are they getting out of this? Like, are they? So we're gonna invest money in this, and then someone else take it. Some VCs, I guess, will do that. I think it's just, I think LPs already get enough fees from the management side of things, where it's just like, then we're gonna pay more fees to invest in the company for them. That it just doesn't add up too well in my mind right now.
It's kind of like the brokers are like going at an earlier stage. I mean, I've seen brokers for sort of Series A onwards, but I mean, if brokers come in earlier, then that'll be a significant amount of the capital that just gets chewed up.
Yeah, right. And like when you talk about moving those things earlier from Series A, then you talk about pre-seed and seed. Yeah. That's that. I've joked around. It's like, you could talk about investing is like quantitative, but at that stage it's qualitative. That is astrology at that point. There aren't enough metrics to go off it. So you're saying, okay, while you have a year's worth, maybe years and a half worth of data, you can't forecast off that. I mean, like you could start like, okay, this looks really good. You're on the right path. But that tells you nowhere where it's about to go.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
you really look at the team. Like, okay, how's the team work together? What's their background? Things of that nature. And like, and to me, that's astrology. You're reading tea leaves at that point,
Yeah.
But there's certain things that would really indicate a good founder or a good team.
Yes.
But I think, so I've seen heard some VCs say that they have founders take psychometric tests. I'm just like, that is a lot.
Yeah, far out. Yeah. No, I haven't heard of that before, but it doesn't surprise me. I mean, they want to be as data driven as they can to try and find the winners.
Yeah, I think it's more just trying to justify to LPs if it doesn't go the right way.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, far out. Excellent. Look, Ken, thank you so much for joining me today and, talking us through what SaaStock does, your career and the fund that you're building. I think it's exciting times and, look forward to learning and hearing more about the thesis and such once you've launched.
Yeah. Once we've launched, definitely we'll come back and do a full unfiltered expose for sure.
Indeed. Thanks so much,
Thanks
Ken.
for having me.
Cheers. Yeah.